Hey everybody, coming to you from the East Coast of the United States. Jim Masters here in the host chair at the Jim Masters Show, live entertainment, lifestyle, celebrity talk show series, and taking you out to the West Coast to Simi Valley in Los Angeles. Our very special guest is in the house, or actually in his house, and he's so happy to be in his house. He's one of the busiest guys in the business. He is an acclaimed actor. He is a renowned, beloved choreographer to the stars. He's a creative and artistic director extraordinaire, and he has worked with some of the biggest names you can think of: Zendaya and Prince and Usher and Gloria Estefan and Ellen DeGeneres and First Lady Michelle Obama, and of course, all kinds of incredible people who love to learn from him. He's a master at what he does, and his name is Rosero McCoy. Everybody knows it in the industry, and he's here right now for you on the Jim Masters Show. Rosero, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you, man. What an introduction, right? How great was that? And, you know, the intro to your show, I was watching it, like, that's even amazing. I love that. Like the way it's even done, the little genie in the bottle.
I tell you, we've got a genie bottle right over in the corner there. That's an actual I Dream a Genie bottle, like a replica, limited signed version of it. Yeah, that's right there next to the lamp, the red guitar bottom there. Yeah, the show opened. We've used a couple of years now, and a really, really cool friend of mine is he is an illustrator. And when I was telling him we wanted to do, a new open for the show, I had listened to thousands of hours of music and selected the theme. And so we had the theme music because we had original theme music before that, and we wanted to update it and upgrade it. And I said, we want to come up with something that sort of moves and isn't just a stagnant photo, but something that moves. So he said retro at the time, a couple of, 2 years, 3 years ago. He said retro is really in right now. So I'm going to design a couple of different things for you to look at. Let me know what you think. He said, but retro is really in. And so I'll throw some things at you after I design them. And he showed me some previews, really cool stuff, great work. And at the time, he was doing a cover for a new album or a reissue of material from Aerosmith. So as he's working on the, graphics for the Jim Masters Show, he's working on Aerosmith. So I said, it looks fantastic. Let's use that. I said, but how do we make it come to life? He said, I'm an illustrator, but I'm not an animator. Of course, the animator is what's going to bring it to life and make it move and flip and everything. He says, but my daughter happens to be an animator. And as a matter of fact, she's like 21, 22. She's doing animation for the Jimmy Fallon show, the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. Maybe I can bring her in and she can take my design and she can bring it to life, especially at the end where it pops on the screen. And then, of course, I match it with the music. And that's what she did. So there was like father-daughter team. And a lot of people ask in the beginning, is that my hand doing the drawing? The giveaway that it isn't is because I'm left-handed. And that hand is right-handed. And that's him. He actually did that piece, which was for something totally separate. It's a totally separate thing, not even originally meant for the open, but we took that and then we matched it with the graphics, the animation and the illustration, and blended the two to create that whole thing. But
it's really cool, Jim.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Sometimes I can see, like before we go live, I can see the guests in the little bottom screen in our online studio. And I can see them going like this, singers, musicians, they're bopping and weaving to the theme and to the whole thing. They're like, oh my God, this is like professional. I said, that's what we do.
That's really good. I was impressed.
Kind of sets the stage that we're going to have a good.
Sets the stage and goes right into the logo, and then you appear.
And then I appear like a TV show of which because you have been in this world for a long time. Again, I know you're humble about it, but you are. I've talked to so many people, and of course our mutual friend Jasper Cole, but many others before that. And you really have been responsible for so much creativity and have worked with so many extraordinary artists. We'll talk about some of that as we go along. But
Okay.
you grew up in the San Francisco, California area. What was the early inspiration for you to even want to go into the arts and entertainment, and specifically, because I know you balance the choreography with being an actor yourself. You've appeared on television shows and other things, so you have both worlds that you sort of balance. But the choreography is really, I know, your heart and soul. How'd that all come about for you?
Well, it's crazy because it's the inspiration of a lot of things growing up, right? Like it's the inspiration from the TV shows I watch, whether it be the dance shows, Star Search, whether it be the Sonny and Cher show, whether it be the Flip Wilson show, all of that is an influence for me. I'm really dating myself right now, whether it was Waylon and the
Oh, I
Madam.
remember Ernestine,
Yeah,
Brooke
yeah, very
Wilson.
much so.
Yes.
She was
Soul
sassy
Train.
and she was, this all of that. And
Oh,
Waylon
yeah.
and the Madam was a big part of things that I love too. Hence my cousin M influence for the puppet show that I did. Um, and as far as dance and things like that went, I was always that kid with a lot of energy dancing. It was the one thing I was good at. I was horrible at sports. I was horrible at everything else. Just didn't interest me. But dancing was the one thing that, as a kid really got me. It was a freedom of expression. And I didn't understand the different terms of dance, whether it be ballet, jazz, tap, so much as I just loved it all. And then the people that really caught my eye were the people who did it all, the Fred Astaire's, the Sammy Davis Juniors, the Michael Jacksons, the Janets, of course, the people in the industry who sang and danced, even the Carol Burnett show, all the variety shows that were out there are those things that are in me, right? So I gravitate to artists who really feed my soul like that. And I've been very fortunate enough to work with artists who do it all, who just encompass it all, whether it be Jody Watley, whether it be Tony Braxton, whether it be Celine Dion or Gloria Estefan, Prince, even down to, KeKe Palmer right now, who, we do a lot together. I've been working with her for a while, and her creativity just keeps you on your toes, man. Like, she's so innovative and creative with her stuff. It comes in her mind, she brings it to life, right? The success is in the doing, right? And as long as you can think it, you can do it, and then you go on this journey of it. And how people perceive it, I always love when they perceive it and it goes to this extra level, but whether you like it or not, it doesn't really base my success off of that. The fact that I follow through with it is my success. And so it all started back then. I mean, as a young kid, I was, hey, get up there and dance. And I would get up on the table and dance, it all started then, and I don't think it came so much from family support as much as I would say. And my family is very supportive of me and they love me. But I think it came so much, a lot of it from me, just knowing that was my calling, pretty much. Yeah. Did I answer your question or did I just start rambling?
No, you answered it for
Okay.
sure.
All right. 'Cause I can get to rambling, Jim. Trust me.
No. Hey, that's great.
Okay.
These are, like I say, these are conversations. This isn't nothing scripted. It's all free
Yeah.
flowing. No, you mentioned some incredible names too. I think that, my God, Sammy Davis Jr. was one of the greatest all around 360 entertainers of our time. That guy, who I've always had much respect for and admired, could do and did everything, and with zest and fun and humor, vim and vigor and joy that he brought you. Even when I still listen to him, I mean, we grew up listening to the Candyman, so every time that comes on, I still
Oh
feel
yeah.
good and I revert back to like being a kid.
Yeah.
But just when I see him in interviews, of course, he's long gone, unfortunately, and way too early. But just when anything that has to do with him on screen, movies, television, reruns of shows, even an episode of I Dream of Jeannie he was on, I just, you feel good when he's around.
Yeah,
It's
and
just one of those guys that made you feel good about yourself.
right, and he moved through a time when, unfortunately, there's a time, he opened so many doors for people of color, and I would say the same thing about an artist. Like, I used to really love to watch Ben Vereen because I just thought, in Sweet Charity and the movies and things that I see him even do dances with, he was always so cool with it. He was always, it made me feel like I could do it. And of course, you watch those things and I was influenced by that, but I also loved, the Fred Astaire's, the Gene Kellys, like those people who would act and then be able to pull up and dance and move through things. That's just been my journey of what I love. So when you mentioned the acting part of it, that was a no-brainer for me to also come out and start, pitching myself as an actor. I could act. That was no-brainer. I love that just as much, learning lines and getting lost in a character. I love to get lost in a character. I love to get lost in dance and the truth of all of that. So, the one thing that really took off for me was my choreography with that. But, the acting passion that I have never leaves, and I've been fortunate enough to like fuse the two. Like when I worked on the show called Family Reunion, it was on Netflix about a year or two ago for 3 seasons. And they had me come back as a character, who was a choreographer on the show, who dated someone on the show, another actress played by Brittany Perry Russell. That was great. And through the years, I've always had these little things where my choreography was able to intertwine with that, and so I've been very fortunate, even as far when I first got to LA, I did a show for a minute called The Shield. Well, I was on there as a character. And then it was a lot of like little gang member roles and things that I always would get. I don't know why people think I'm mean looking. I think it's because of my little slanted eyes, but I was always booking those roles.
Zero's up to something.
It was up to no good. Something's coming.
He's got those not McCoy eyes, but coy eyes.
Yeah. And so that aspect of it, I just always have loved embracing all forms of entertainment and challenges, right? Like you say, okay, you prepare as much as you can, and then let's see what happens in the moment, because that's where the creativity happens. And it's the same thing with choreography. I can walk into a room. I just did a show with KeKe Palmer, and we just finished this series of prides that she's doing, because we did her tour last year. She's doing a couple of prides this year. Just got back yesterday. And in the moment, I prepared her show, but when I got in and was able to create with her, it went to a whole nother level. So preparation is everything, but the preparation prepares you to let go, so that whatever they throw at you, you're able to flip it on the spot, right? It's such a great feeling. So
what's it like working with KeKe? It's amazing.
Oh, it's amazing. I'll get emotional talking about this young lady. She is a blessing, her and her family, but her, because she challenges you, she does so many things, and does them well. And then I'll be working and she'll be like, I want to do this. And we're doing it, right? She is not going to just talk about it. She's going to do it. It's an absolute pleasure working with her. I mean, she keeps you young, man. She keeps you going.
She's in her moment too right now, right? She's like on fire. She's really living it and enjoying it.
And doing it with grace, and it's a testament to her family. It's a testament to her. So it's great working with her. But I've had the privilege through my career of working with talented people like that.
Yeah, you mentioned Celine Dion too. What was it like working with Celine?
Celine, it was really, really a pleasure, because with Celine Dion, she was so busy. It was at the height of when, Titanic was happening.
Oh, yeah.
And all of that. And she was doing the Billboard Awards, and it was like a farewell to doing award shows, because she was going away, I think, to have kids, to have another kid with Renee.
Right.
And it was the song. I met her through another artist that I work with, Diana King, and she did one of her songs, and then she called me and a partner at the time, Jamal Sims, in to do a couple of shows with her, and we did the Billboard Awards, and the song was That's the Way It Is. And I remember she came in and she had just flew in that day, and we had like maybe an hour with her, and we showed her the steps and the choreography. And well, first I went to Renee to talk to her, and he said, "Man, you just need to talk to her. She wants to talk to you and she's very hands-on." And went over to her. She was very friendly. We had met briefly in Europe because we were with Diana, and she was meeting Diana because they did a song together. And she was like, "Just show me what you need to have done. I'll do it." And I was like, "Okay." And we staged her. She got up there and watched some of it. She made a few adjustments. And we got our standing ovation at the end of that number. She ended the show, and it was incredible. And I watch it to this day because the dancers and everybody, great dancers can flip things on the spot also once they're prepared. We prepared this whole number. And when she came in, we adjusted it to compliment her. So she led us through it. And it's the same thing when I did it with her. And it was Diana King. And at the time, there was a group, Brownstone, and we were doing a show. It was called the Lady of Soul Awards that they used to have. And she came on because she did a song with Diana King, and she came in, and I'd already worked with her before. So she came back in again, and she just hit those steps in the choreography so well. Like certain people, and KeKe's another one. Once they understand how you move and how you work, it's like riding a bike for them, and you know what they need. That's why it's so important, the creative's relationship with the artist, because you know how they move, you know how they groove, you know what they want around them. You're not going to give them too much. You're going to give them enough to make the piece incredible. So she was great. Awesome work for her.
It's incredible when you have an opportunity to work with such a vast variety of people and all the different personalities as well. Like you mentioned Celine, you mentioned KeKe, you mentioned Jody Watley too as well. Yeah. Another iconic individual who's really enjoying her moment as well. She's amazing, huh?
Oh yeah, Jody. Me and Jody. I just spoke to Jody about I would say about a month ago, because she has her own radio show. On Sirius FM, I think now, Sirius Radio,
Sirius XM, yeah.
And she's just timeless. The people don't give Jody enough credit for what Jody brought in an era. She was the hoop earrings. She was fashion before Rihanna. She was all of those things, right? She was fusing fashion and music before it was ever really popular. And, what she taught me was not to wait around for people, because, back in the day when she was shooting and doing all that fashion stuff, like she did something, in Paris, what was Still a Thrill in the Paris Opera House. And, her label didn't pay for that. She paid for that. She did it, and here it is years later, and it's iconic, so the moves that she made, she's really taught me a lot, because I worked with Jody, for over, I would say we started in 97, I believe. For about 15, 16 years we worked together, maybe even longer than that. Wow, I'm dating myself for real, Jeff.
Do you ever pinch yourself too when you look at the iconic, people you're working with? Because to them, when you come in to work with them, the respect you have for them, they have for you and what you're bringing to the table and your abilities, which I think is a perfect relationship.
The pinch me moment, I think, is something that happened this year. When we're in this hustle and this grind, we're just doing it, right? And years go by, and you're pacing yourself, and you're just keeping on stride with your journey. You're not worried about other people's journeys to the left or right. You're worried about this core and your journey. And when things pop up, like, this year I had the pleasure of working with Usher again, because I did Usher's You Make Me Wanna with a partner years ago by the name of Jamal Sims.
What was that like?
it was amazing. We did a song called "You Make Me Wanna," and it blew up. I want to say that's one of the first big things that I've ever done, and that went huge back then.
Yes.
And for now to come a full circle moment, I had the opportunity of working with him again with KeKe Palmer together. And
wow.
they did a video together where we were paying homage to him, you know, and she was happy. And then I had a moment of an emotional moment because like, dog, I'm recreating these moves on KeKe Palmer that, you know, you and I came up with Jamal and just blew it up again. You know, it was a great moment in time. And when I have those kind of moments, it's definitely a pinch me moment, right? And I don't take it for granted. It's like, you know, I look back now, even when I was able to do things like be a part of Michelle Obama's healthy living campaign when they were in the White House, and I would travel with her and meet her places. We did the Ellen Show. We did a naval base where it was a graduation for the kids together. We did the Easter egg White House that happens every year. And those moments in time, when you now look back at them, you're like, I was with Michelle Obama. You know, she was learning my moves. We were dancing together. We were rocking together, and just a cool individual.
And there they are, everybody. That's Rosero on the right, and that's First Lady Michelle Obama in the center. Yeah. And then who is the friend on the left in the green?
That is Perry the Platypus. That was a Disney character. Yeah, I want to make sure everybody didn't think that was me on the left with we've been mistaken for each other. But yeah, you know, it was during her healthy living campaign, and she was learning. It was a big thing with Disney with this Perry Platypus cartoon character that was big on their network, and she was there. And a crazy thing about that, she learned these steps right then. You know, she's first lady, so she flew in. They gave me 15 minutes with her. And she watched me do it, and then she stood behind me and she did the whole thing, and she was grooving, and we had a great time. And that was a moment in time I will never forget. Those are just moments that happen that your psyche goes back to, like, wow, I was there, you know.
And working with the
first lady,
one of the first ladies in American history, right?
Yeah, right. Like that, that's kind of crazy, right? Like and not only on one occasion, we did 3 different occasions together, you know, in her campaign that she was doing. She'd be like, all right, Rosero, you ready? I'd be like, yeah, let's go. Like the first lady is saying, Rosero, are you ready? You know, like, wow, okay, let's do it. That was really a moment for me, you know? So those things, man, are things that I could never, ever have imagined would happen to me.
Mm-hmm. Working with Prince.
Yeah. That's a story. Yeah. I went out to Paisley Park and sat for maybe a week and never saw him. And me and the girl at the time, her name was, I think Thomasina. What was her name? Thomasina. Anyway, it was a time when he was revamping his whole camp, and he wanted me to come out and work on a song with just him and a girl. And I was like, sure, you know, Prince, of course I'm coming. And I was there for like a week. I would go to the hotel and come to the studio. He didn't want to work that day. Go to this hotel, come to the studio. So I got used to coming there, me and the girl, and I would, you know, I was overly prepared. And one day it was like, you know, at this point, you know, I got a little like, well, he ain't gonna be here anyway, so I'm just sitting around. And I was waiting for lunch. I had already worked with the girl, and I'm so mad at myself that I can't remember her name. And I was ordering food. You know, they always bring you a menu and you order. And I said, well, I'll have the turkey burger. And then I heard this voice say, we don't eat meat. And I turned around, he was sitting behind me. And I was like, oh, okay. You know, not nice to meet you or anything. It just caught me off guard that he appeared out of nowhere in the room behind me saying, we don't eat meat. And I was like,
I'll have the hummus instead.
Okay, I'll just have a Caesar salad, no chicken. You know what I mean? And so
The prince has spoken.
He says, no meat. We're not eating meat here today. And it was such a pleasure to work with him. After that, he was really cool. I had my little lunch. We talked for a bit about what he wanted. I showed him what I had with the girl, showed him the moves and the steps. And I remember my memory of that with him was he would take a break and he would go play basketball at the basketball court that was there at Paisley Park. And he had on his heels while he was playing basketball. And I was like, he's playing basketball in his little heels.
Wow.
You know, and I was like, and he's pretty damn good. He was playing with his bodyguards and people, and everybody thought it was normal. So who am I to say, you know, where's his tennis shoes? But it was just a great moment in time again for me, right? Like I'm here with Prince and we're at Paisley Park and he didn't show up for a week, but now he's here and he's doing my steps. And I stayed with him for about 2 or 3 days. And then he took it out on the road and I didn't see him again after that. You know, it was another moment, right? For me that it's so funny you brought that up because that is one of those things that are back here for real. That was a while ago.
That's a great story. I mean,
yeah.
And now that's a cherished memory in many respects, you know.
And that's the beauty of this business. I mean, you even know it's like, you know, you make these memories and while you're in them, not to know that years down the line, people would bring it up. You know, it's like I did this show on Disney for a while. It was called I did a movie called
Camp Rock 2. Yeah.
Camp Rock 2.
Yes.
And with Demi Lovato and the Jonas Brothers. And they had just really started taking off then. And to turn around and see this now all over TikTok and the kids doing the little moves and doing things with it. Who would have thought, right? You would never know that those years ahead of Disney doing that or doing Shake It Up. These kids really, it was a part of their childhood, right? And now they're like, you did Shake It Up, or you did Camp Rock 2, or Austin and Ally, or, you know, yeah, that was my Disney days with the mouse.
Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Wow, Alvin and the Chipmunks. The Bagdasarians, right? That family was so, you know, I did that one and the sequel, and they were so nice to me, man.
Yeah.
And the one out the gate was the one that came out first, Alvin and the Chipmunks. And dancers to this day thank me for that movie because they made a lot of money out of that movie because it was their first one. And, you know, I hired dancers. When I do animated movies like that, I always hire a skeleton crew and put all the moves on them, you know. So when I did Alvin and the Chipmunks or the Garfield movie or Rio, you know, all of those are dancers that I put the moves on. And then the animator goes and draws, you know, are inspired by it.
How cool is that when you see the animation after and how they were able to capture the essence of what your vision was?
It's really cool. You know, when I did the Chipmunks first, you know, Alvin, Simon, and Theodore, it was my first experience with it. And I thought the dancers would have motion capture, you know, where they put the balls on you. And they said, no, we don't want it to look cartoonish. And I don't understand what they meant by that. We want it to look like it was really chipmunks doing moves. So we want you to choreograph these moves that you think chipmunks would do. And I guess what they were saying to me was, you know, like when you see Happy Feet or where they put the motion capture, it feels kind of cartoon because everything is moving so fast. It's cartoonish. Whereas with Alvin and the Chipmunks, the animators took the moves off the dancers and drew around it. So it really felt like these chipmunks with their little bodies, whether they be big stomachs or little arms, felt like they were doing the moves, you know. And it really showed to me when I did it, the squeak roll with the girls. And, you know, they had to do, if you like it, then you should have put a ring on it, you know, that thing. And the actors, the dancers, one in particular, Janelle Nuestra, who's an amazing choreographer. She was Brittany Chippett. It embodied her movements so much. And I really felt that the animators captured Janelle. So when you see Brittany the Chippett on Alvin and the Chipmunks, the squeak roll, these dancers, all the three ladies did really good, but you really saw the dancer, you know, that this Chippett could really dance. She could really groove. It didn't feel like, you know, cartoonish at all. So to see that come to life was great. It's the same thing when I did Garfield. Uh, you know, when he was dancing and sliding across the floor. It was really good. You know, I enjoyed doing the animated movies. I had a good time over at Fox. Wow.
I tell you, it's amazing when you think about it. You mentioned Shake It Up too, which is everybody loves and remembers. That was a lot of fun, huh?
Oh yeah, that one is the one that kind of hurt Rosero a bit. Yes, we had so many dance numbers to turn over, dude. That one, we would get a script that Monday. We'd be filming it by the weekend, by that Friday. So we were, you know, on to the next. We did like over 90 dance moments for that show because we always started it with dance every episode, pretty much. So yeah, that one was a toll. And at the same time I was doing that show, I was over at Disney, and then I would run across town because I was doing a show called America's Best Dance Crew. And that was on MTV for a minute. And then just when I thought I couldn't get another one, I got another show on NBC called The Sing Off. So I was popping.
All these shows, right?
That era for me, going from studio to studio to studio, I had great assistants, but we were moving. It was a really, really good time. You know, it was good.
If Dancing with the Stars ever came knocking for you to be a judge, would that be something you'd consider?
Oh yeah, most definitely. You know, that's, you know, yeah, definitely. Listen, I'm an all-around entertainment guy, right? I love being a part of all of it, everything that it brings. And I feel that we are all on this earth with our own journey, right? And I mean, look at Mickey Mouse right back. Where is he? Over there. He's a big part of my life. And so whatever it takes me, I'm here for it. Right. I don't really pretty much turn down anything. I mean, I'm not doing porno or anything, but for the most part, how much are they paying? No. I don't, you know.
And our next video is
right, exactly. You know, I just feel like it is your journey, right?
You're an entertainer all the way around, right?
You know your worth. I know my worth. I know what I'm.
You're a hat guy like me.
Oh,
I'm a big hat guy. Yeah.
I've always been.
That's even part of your Instagram handle, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Top Hat Row.
Right. That's a cool hat. I'm wearing something similar. Mine's black, but yours, that's a cool one. Do you have a big collection of hats?
Oh man, I have hats for every occasion. Yeah. I'm a hat guy for real. Yeah. My son actually gave me the handle Top Hat Row.
Oh, well, that's cool.
Yeah, he did that. I remember we were sitting in the dance crew, and I mean, it was right when Instagram was coming out, and people were getting names, and he was like, "Dad, you should just be Top Hat Row. You always wear a top hat." And I was
like, "How cool is that, right?"
Yeah, and it just stuck.
That is so perfect. I tell you, again, some of these incredible people, Gloria Estefan.
Yeah, great.
One of the greats in the industry.
Oh man, and just a great energy. You know, it was in Miami. Again, I was working with a partner at the time, Jamal Sims. And then I remember after that, we had shot a video with a great director, Billy Woodruff, who I still work with to this day. You know, relationships in this business are very important, kids. And she was great. Her family was great. They took us to their restaurant, you know, and ate Cuban food, and it was amazing. They had a great restaurant there in Miami. She shocked me because she was very business. You know, I didn't know she was as little as she was, a little tiny lady, but she ran the show. She'd be in there shooting, and she would stop and make sure the cameras were where they were, and she would make sure the dancers ready. Okay, now let's go. You know, she was really on it. Very professional lady.
Yeah, she really is just one of those greats in the industry. And another, Zendaya, who's experiencing her moment too.
Yeah, great lady. You know, I worked with her.
Yeah, she's amazing. She has this old soul sensibility. There's just something about her. Like,
you know, what I recall when I worked with Zendaya, it was on a show called Shake It Up. I worked with her and Bella.
Right.
And they were like 12, 13. And to watch their growth even on that show.
Right.
You know, with their movement and their dance. Zendaya came with a little more dance background than Bella. But they both worked very hard. They were very, very, very much so a part of the choreography process. If they didn't like something, they would tell me. I remember one time Zendaya called me, well, her dad called me and said, Zendaya wants to speak to you. And I was like, okay. So we got on the phone. She was like, well, I just feel like we could add a little something here. Do so. I'm like, perfect. Let me know every week if you need more so I can adjust it. Because, I feel as a creative and a choreographer, as I put it out there so that your mind will think, you might have another vision with it. And she was really good at that, really good at that. And hence, look at where she is now. She's, Zendaya. And I always remember thinking to myself, her parents are really tall and she was tall. And we were at a expo one time. I think it was going to be the second season of Shake It Up. And she walked in the room, her and Bella, and she just floated through the room. Like she was this, I said, oh, this girl's a model. She's fashion.
There's a smoothness, a coolness, a swagger that's just there.
It's just there. And it comes from a place of authenticity, I think. I know people use that word a lot, but she's always been in her truth. Whatever she's embodying is in her truth. That's who she is. That's why I like her. That's why I like KeKe Palmer. That's why I like having women like that. And I'm really good with working with women like that because they just are in their truth, and I love it. So yeah, she's great, man. Great, great, great. Well, you're taking me down a bunch of memory lane stuff that I haven't thought about in years, right?
Like Rosero McCoy, this is your life. It's kind of like that. Yeah.
It's so crazy, Jim, because, I remember I was in South Africa with Toni Braxton and I've done a lot of stuff for her too. And one of the dancers said, why are you up here on stage with us dancing still if you're putting the show together? And I'm like, because I love to dance, right? I put it together. I know what it is. And I want to go to South Africa too. I want to be a part of the show. And
does that happen often where you are showing others how to do it, but you would love to be a part of it too if you could? Because you are a thoroughbred dancer.
100%. And if I want to put myself in it, I'll put myself in it. Not if it's going to hinder the piece, or sometimes there's so much work to do that you can't put yourself in it, right? But I have really great assistants, and sometimes it's like even with KeKe's show going out this time, I'm her hype guy. You know what I mean? I'm hyping up things, and we're playing off each other with the DJ, and I'm setting up things in different worlds. I love that. Give it to me. I want to do it all. And I'm good at doing it all. So why would I limit myself to anything? Like, those limitations and all of that, that's for other people. That's not for me. I can't live like that. I gotta go. I have too much energy. I want to do it all.
Right? Are you always thinking, creating? Is your mind always going?
Yeah, even when I'm sleeping, and that's what's kind of hard sometimes. It gives me a headache. I woke up with a headache this morning thinking about this week and what I have to accomplish and things that I have to do. Yeah, I'm always thinking.
There's no such thing as a typical week, especially lately in the last few years, but what is generally a week like for you? And are you in control of that week, or does the week just come at you and then you have to sort of move things around to make that week happen?
It varies, right? Like, I'm pretty much know what I'm doing maybe 3 to 4 months out. Right. And then I work on what's in front of me in that moment. So like a week for me is basically scheduling things out with my assistant. And then he keeps me on board with it as other things come in. Right. And then I always try to make time for me. Like people say, I mean, what do you do in your spare time? I get to be at this house. I go in my yard. I get in my pool. I get in my jacuzzi. I soak my bones. I love that. That for me is everything, to be able to enjoy where I'm at. And a work week for me is basically every day waking up with a schedule of what I need to do and it timed out for the day, whatever that may be. This whole past 2 months was dedicated to a show I had to do in Atlanta and KeKe Palmer. So that all led up to where and then I have a meeting, a Zoom with Jim, not Jasper. today. And then after that, I'm back onto
A
it.
mutual friend of
That's
Jasper,
right, a
right?
mutual friend, Jasper.
We're all mutual friends. Exactly, right?
100%, man. And we all are, like-minded people, right?
Yeah.
Like even you doing your show right now, it's a lot. People don't see it, but it's a lot for you to get this up and running and to keep it going and to, you know, have an intro and to speak to different people. It's a lot. You get to see the finish this, but to get to this is a
Yeah.
lot,
It
right?
really is, to the
Feel.
preparation and what it takes just to do one episode and put it all together is hours.
Yeah,
Yeah. Just to
and
do one
and and
show.
when you work with people, and I'll say it again, when you work with KeKe and you see how she does it, there's a team for real. You know what I mean? And she makes my little team look like, oh, this is my little team, but her team is from hair, makeup, stylists, publicists, lawyers, da 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 da. It's a lot to make that happen, and she has to find time to schedule sleep, right? She has to find time to schedule her me time, and that me time is so important, man. I mean, it's so important to keep you sane, but we wouldn't do it or have it any other way.
You
Who
have to
else,
have that balance, right? Hmm.
who else gets to live in their creativity, right?
Exactly right. I'm like you. I do crave the quiet times, the times when, like you say, you're in the jacuzzi or you are just time with family and relaxing and you're reaping the benefits of all of the hard work and the blood, sweat, and tears. Some people are just on, next, 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 next.
Yeah.
And I need to have some pause and reflection, even if it's a short one, because we have so much to do, just a little pause and reflection to savor what just happened, what we just experienced, what was just accomplished, and take that energy and then move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
I
Well, you
love
do that.
those pauses in between.
Yeah, and it's different things for different people. I said it before, your journey is your own. So you have to know you when you're living in your truth. You really have to understand that even this entertainment business is a roller coaster, right? Did you get on this roller coaster to ride it all the way through, or did you get on it to get right off of it? Because it is a roller coaster.
It
You know,
really
and
is.
you have
It's
this moment, and then you
yeah.
have this moment. And
Hmm.
you're like, oh, is this moment over? Is this moment over? Let me get off. No, 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 it's not over. It's just taking a change. So you got to stay on it. My ride in this entertainment business has been nothing short of incredible. I had a partner that I came here by myself, had a partner who I choreographed and did things with for like 11 years. And then when we stopped working, it felt like I was all alone again, right? And I kept telling myself, you didn't come here to do this with anybody. You just happened to stumble on a great partner. And when your partnership ended, you still go take what you have. And in the moment, even if it felt like everything was catered toward that partner, you know, I still have me. I'm still talented. I still got it. And I've done other things since then that have been my own rise and my own, enjoyment, which I just had as much pleasure doing it with that person. But when it was by myself, it was even, wow, this is what I really came here for. Right. So this entertainment ride has been, like I said, nothing short of incredible. And I'm just getting started. Right. When people say that, they don't mean they don't recognize what they've done up to now, but they know, like, wow, with this knowledge I have now, oh my God, I know what this is. I know how it works. You take a seed and you water it, and just because it doesn't grow the way you expect it to, doesn't mean you should leave that seed alone. It's growing like this in ways you couldn't even imagine, but you think it should grow really pretty, and this should happen, and this should happen, and then this should happen. And if that's what you think, it's never going to happen like that. That's not how life is.
No.
It's going to happen like this.
Yeah. We
And
had
you have to flow with it.
recently, he's been a guest several times now, but he's actually a wonderful dear friend. He's a big fan of this series, but I got a chance to also see him and his family at his finale concert, his final concert which was at Mohegan Sun Arena, one of his favorite places. It was jammed with 10,000 plus 12,000 people, which now during the craziness of the last few years is quite a grouping.
Yeah.
And it was the finale concert for Tony Orlando.
Oh, wow.
One of the great entertainers of our time too.
Wow.
And it was epic. He did a 3.5 hour nonstop, no intermission farewell performance. Dawn, they came, all these celebrities. Priscilla Presley was there. A lot of people on stage that, were in the music industry too. Other performers, people he always collaborated with or knew or friends of his. It was an epic event. And when he was on last, maybe 2 weeks ago, so we had him on, a year ago, then he was on prior to his tour, which was really 3 places. He did Las Vegas because he had all the relationship with the casinos over the years, through the 60s, 70s, all the way up. He did Atlantic City, same thing. And then he did Mohegan Sun at Foxwoods, Mohegan Sun at Mohegan Sun in Connecticut. And then he went back to his old neighborhood in New York. It was really a momentous thing. And he was very emotional. He was very real and raw about ending his almost 70-year career. It was the cap on his live performances. He put a cap on it. And when he was on the show, he said, Jim, fame is nothing but a mirage. I've been doing this 70 years. Fame is nothing but a mirage. Sure, we love those high moments and the look at me moments, but you got to have the balance, the grounding, the people around you to go to that love you, that you love. You have to have that balance because fame is fleeting and a lot of it is a mirage. And if you get hooked just on that part of all of it and not on all the other stuff and why you're doing what you're doing, the game is off. So it's just interesting to hear an iconic guy like that who's done it all these years to just sum it up by saying fame itself is a mirage. He now lives with his family. They're in Branson, Missouri. And
you can
kind of interesting. Makes sense what he says, huh? Tony Orlando.
100%, man. Come on. It is that. And if you get caught up in that mirage, you're missing the whole purpose of why you're here in the first place. Right? Like you're missing it. It's so funny because I work with Thelma Hopkins, who is a part of Dawn.
And who has been on, as Tony has said loudly and clearly, almost every TV show, every series, she is one of, I think she's got the record as like one of the busiest actresses.
Yeah. And
she's a nice person.
Yeah. And she's someone that has kept to who she is and her truth. Right. I remember I worked with her on a show on Netflix called Family Reunion. And I just was in awe of how she still moves through that character in her truth. Right. Whether she was in Tony Orlando and Dawn, and she was doing that same type of energy that she was giving of that no nonsense character. I forgot the other lady who worked with her. But they both had a certain play off each other that they would do with Tony Orlando. As a kid, I remember that. And when I got to meet her and work with her, I remembered her presence. And I remembered her through the years on other shows that she was on. Again, not getting caught up in the mirage of fame, right? Just living in your truth. And that's such a good point. Younger listeners might see this, well, what do they mean a mirage? Well, what it means is that your social media isn't real either. If you get caught up in all of that, that's fake. Nobody is smiley happy all the time and
not at all.
And da 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 da. That's not reality, children.
Not at all.
And if you think it comes overnight, it does not. You will have to work. You will have to keep going at it every day, or you will not be here. That's all it is. So yes, it's a beautiful thing to have social media and a beautiful tool, but if you look at it, it is a mirage. So if you want to know what he's saying when he says fame is a mirage, that's your mirage today. Your social media is your mirage. You better understand that it's not reality. And if you're not using it for the right thing, the right purpose, it's nothing social about it. it keeps you only on yourself. It keeps you only in here. It keeps you doubting everything because you think everybody's beautiful but you. And then you look at them and see them in person and no, that's not really who they are. Then you say you've been catfished. No, they just were filtered to death. You know, it's like, it's not real. So when he says it's a mirage, he's absolutely right.
You see people in the produce aisle in the supermarket, like, you don't exactly match your picture.
You know, it's like, are you sure?
You look more like that head of lettuce.
That's right. Like I could swear
that is
you. You know, it's
right. That's
so
amazing.
funny that you just said it's a mirage,
Yeah,
right?
right.
So how you translate that today? Your social media is a mirage. Don't get caught up in it. You've got to do the work. You got to understand that to really be in this thing is to be in this thing.
Right.
You know, people see me, and I've had a couple of people say a few things just in the light of, oh, this is nice, or that is nice, or da 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 da. Oh, you're sitting up here. I've been in row 33D on the plane, middle seat, my whole life. I didn't just get to this exit row or business class seat overnight, you know, and I still will fly here. You know, I remember having an assistant when I was doing all the Disney stuff, and she was sitting with me. I'm never going to say her name, but she was sitting with me in first class, and we were going to do an expo because we were on Shake It Up. And it was me and her, and Ludacris was there, and there was another celebrity there, and she was drinking her wine. And I was just watching her, and she said to me, you know, I only want to do this show. The other stuff you do, I really don't want to do anymore. And if I can't just do this show, I don't know if I really want to work with you anymore. And in my mind, I was sitting there listening to her talk to me, and I was thinking to myself, of course you only want to do this show because we're sitting in business class, because you're sitting up here with me, but you didn't earn this seat. You didn't earn this seat. And what you don't understand is, in my mind, the minute you said that to me, you were fired. No love lost, but you don't get it, right? You're caught up in this moment, but you know how long it took me to get to this moment?
Mm-hmm.
And then this moment is in every job, because the next job had me back in 33D. But I still on the job. You know, you don't get it. You think this is it. And I had to let that assistant go. And I'm sure they've learned through life, because I don't know what they're doing now, but there's nothing in this industry.
And I don't even think D is a window seat, right? Is it aisle?
I don't know.
Or is it the middle? Is it the middle seat?
Middle, right?
Oh, that's the worst.
Right. So it's the business we signed up for. And yes, you can make it look so good.
Yeah, it's so smooth and easy and effortless, and everybody.
And that's our job.
Thinks that they can, and everybody thinks that because they do one thing, they're you, and that they've earned all of it overnight that you've done for years and years and years of sacrifice, blood, sweat, and tears. And I say the same thing, being a television and radio guy and studying this in school and working at all these different stations and production companies and networks and all these different kinds of shows on air, you know, radio, TV, behind the scenes, all of it. There's a lot of time and effort and blood, sweat, and tears and sacrifice that goes in and has gone in and continues to go in to doing it. Mm-hmm. You know, you have your weekends and holidays,
all of it. And you have to just say
running and jumping at the last minute, dropping things. We need you here in an hour. You know, yeah, it's all part of it. A lot of people wouldn't.
And you have to. And what I say to that is, you know, what I really say to that is to people who think it's not that. Good luck. If you're going to show me something different, please do, because I know no other way but this. Rosero's way, right? To hustle in the grind and to keep going and to enjoy it.
Earning it.
What I have learned to do is enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know, the beauty of me being older and doing it is I have really learned to enjoy it. You know, yesterday I was with a bunch of dancers, and my assistants didn't come with me to this DC show we did. And when it was all done, I had such a great time with them. And they wanted to go now. Come on, we're going to go hang out and da, 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 da. And I was like, absolutely not. You guys go have fun, because now I'm going to go and enjoy it for me, which is take myself to dinner, a nice dinner, go to bed, wake up, get on my flight, travel home, and enjoy it. So I've really learned how to enjoy it. I really have. You know, I thought I was enjoying it before, but before we even got on here, I was in my yard and the birds were going crazy. And I was watching these birds, the mother bird feed her baby bird out behind the pool. And I thought, wow, this is so dope. And then I said, you are really sitting here watching this. Before, you would have been, shut up that noise. What are all these birds chirping? You know?
Right. And you know what you're doing. You're not just watching it, you're observing it and you're soaking it in and probably being inspired by it. You're being inspired. What, you know, I've asked this of others that have been guests on our show, and I think I asked this even off the air, just in normal conversations, where your inspiration comes from. Like you're talking to a chef, you're talking to an actor, you're talking to a singer, a musician, anybody. What inspires you to do what you do and to create? Do you pull from a lot of what you see around you? Does life inspire you? Can you be in that produce aisle in the supermarket and see something that gives you some inspiration? Could you be walking along the beach at the ocean or up in the mountains and be inspired to the point where it actually helps you create your art? Are you always observing life and soaking it in like the birds outside the window in the yard?
Yes. Life. It's very simple. Life inspires me. Kids get on my nerves, but they inspire me. Life inspires me. Walking down the street and watching the way someone walks or does something inspires me. All of that. Most definitely. The most creative stuff comes from just nowhere. Like, oh my God, I gotta write this down. You know, there's a project that's hopefully coming up in a couple of weeks that I'm waiting to hear on, that the minute I heard of it, I got inspired and I started writing it down because of something I just saw in DC when I was there. And just watching people, you know, even through the years, the beautiful thing that we have is we know what's tried and true. And I love that. I love knowing what's tried and true. And what I mean by that is this just goes around. It life is a circle that keeps going around. So if you look at something years ago that was amazing, it's amazing today. They just don't know where it came from. But you do, because you know you were able to experience that in life and it worked. And it's going to work again. If you just follow me, and that's what sometimes I tell artists, I'm not giving you nothing I don't really know. I've seen it work. I was out and watched it work. You know, when I did this thing for an artist years ago, he wasn't hitting, and then he did it and it blew up. That same thing that I did will work on an artist 30 years later. You don't know where it came from, but life inspired me, and I know it will work on you too. If we don't have to take from it, but we can use that format. The format is the same. Give me an amazing beginning, keep me going in the middle, and make me jump up and cheer at the end. That's the format. An amazing beginning, a great middle that keeps me engaged, and an ending that makes me, can you believe it? So what inspires me is the simplest things in life. Like you said, that bird chirping. Well, how's that going to inspire you? Watch. It will. It's going to hit me when I need. He's chirping right now. It's people are going to say, this dude has lost his mind. But it's, oh my God, Rosero's losing a kid. Somebody clap it up. It's those things.
He's going to say, what is he, in the valley?
Yeah.
And guess what, folks? He actually is in the valley.
You know what happened to me the other day? That, and I don't know if I should say this, but I was in my car, and this is what older me, and I don't know what this has to do with anything, but I think why I'm telling you the story is really quickly is because it made me understand how much I've matured in life. This guy wouldn't let me over, and he kept inching forward. He was an older man, and he kept inching forward. And I was like, well, sure, he's not going to hit me. So he hit me.
Oh, Wow.
And I went, whoa.
The way people are driving on the highway now, the road rage and the
And
speed and just,
but check this out, Jim.
and an
He
older guy too. Usually you think it
was
would be a
older, like
young.
about 75. He was older. And I got out the car and I was like, hey, you hit my car. And he sat there and he wouldn't look at me. And then he went, and I went, I just started laughing. I was like, this is a comedy skit.
This
This
is a setup. I'm on a show that's doing pranking. This is MTV pranks.
I was like, the cameras are going to be out any minute. This must be
exactly.
So I started laughing.
This is a prank.
And then I thought to myself, well, how will this play out? Well, first of all, I could get very upset, or I could just laugh at this because it's a scratch. It'll come out. I'll go buff it out. And then he didn't want to let me over. I should have moved. I didn't know he was going to ram my Range Rover. And I didn't think that, but I thought to myself, wow, I have really matured. I didn't get up and holler or do anything. And I learned that life lesson let me know that I'm not cutting the head of line ever again. It's just life lessons when they show you them. When life shows you these lessons, you got to really look at them differently. It's all how you look at a situation, right? I know that. It's all how I look at the birds, how I look at
somebody else who doesn't know that.
They would have beat that old man up.
Yeah, the reaction would be on Eyewitness News at 6.
That's right. But it's so great that I laughed at it because I saw this old man. I was like, this young whippersnapper's not just going to cut in on me. And I was like, well, he's right. He was wrong for hitting my car, but he's absolutely right. Go back to the back of the line. I don't care if you do need to get over to get on the 405. I'm not letting you in. So why did I tell that story? I told that story because everything is a life lesson that I've learned at this point in my life. So
and because this segment is sponsored by Geico? No.
That was good, Jim. See, that's good.
I'm quick. That's my Irish wit.
It's quick. And everything in life is a lesson, people. You just have to learn it. And that's what being older allows you to do. Just take it in. And that's what inspires me. Everything inspires me in life to choreograph. I watch younger people, how they move and what they do because I feel like, oh, they're not doing nothing. I could do that again. You know what I mean? And I have a good time. And I teach around the country at different dance studios.
You do. Yeah, you're a master teacher. Yeah, you are.
I do it everywhere. Because just like an artist, if there's no work in town, I'm hitting the road, right? And I enjoy it. What was this show? Wow. It was a murder show.
Wow. That's a great shot, huh?
Yeah. And I remember she was guilty and I was her choreographer. And she was like, hey, what's everybody doing here?
That's cool look. They say it is all in the eyes. And definitely you can see there's a certain confidence in the eyes that you were just born with. You know what I mean?
That's a pretty good shot of that guy.
It is. Yeah, we dug up some various ones from over the years.
Alvin and the
You know what it is? It's a look of confidence. There's a look of confidence. You know what I mean? Hey, I'm Rosero. Who are you? Nice to meet you. Here we are. There's a look of confidence that's there,
I appreciate
which
that.
I think you know what I mean.
I appreciate it.
And you like to have a good time through it all. This is a cool shot too.
Yeah, my best friend took that shot. We were on a set.
It makes me think of Mr. Bojangles.
Really?
A little bit, doesn't it? Have that sort of Davis Jr. look a little bit, or even like a Gregory Hines kind of pose, a little bit. Yeah,
I'll take it. It also makes me think I had one too many burgers, but that's okay.
It's all a matter of
my winter look.
The winter look.
Yeah.
This shot going back in time.
Okay, so this is crazy. These two, everyone in this shot is people that I still admire to the day. The guy above me is his Jamal Sims is a choreographer. The guy to my left shoulder is Jensen Atwood. They're all still in this business to this day. The other two gentlemen, Kevin and Yad, I don't really speak to them much, but us three are still in the business making our own moves, and I love it. Wow. That's a great moment. How'd you get that?
Postio, 1983, was asking Latino. Do you understand it? Are you it? A little bit of that.
No, you know,
Habla Espanol, she's asking. Welcome, Pasteo 1983. It's nice to have you here.
nice to have
And
you.
Kathleen in New York City is looking at your ring. It's beautiful, Rosero.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Boy, she's all the way in New York City. She's got that good.
Yeah, she does. And I picked this up at a thrift store not too long ago. I love this ring. I've always liked nice little rings, and this one fits really well. And no Latin. I don't speak Latin. You know, my background, which I found out recently, is my grandfather's Filipino. And my dad always thought my grandfather was Puerto Rican, but we did a DNA test, and my grandmother did a little something in her day, and my grandfather's actually Filipino. Our last name is Jacinto.
So is the McCoy a stage name, or?
Well, I grew up.
Because that would be like Scottish, Irish.
Yeah, and wow. Let me see if I can say this. My grandmother and my father, his whole life, we all grew up with the last name McCoy, but with this Ancestry.com, my grandmother has since passed. My cousins did Ancestry.com and found out that my dad and his twin are half Filipino, half Black. And so my grandmother, we found out, you know, her husband at the time was not right to her, and she had an affair with a man with the last name of Jacinto, and that's how my father came out. And, you know, my father him and his brother look like, you know, they're like 5'4", you know, and they look like Filipino and Black, and that's what we are. And we found that out, you know, and which started making all the sense in the world to me, you know, because, you know, my dad he always looked like a little Filipino and Black man to me, Hawaiian descent. And so that's what we are. I always
when it comes to choreography, man, he's the real McCoy.
That's right. That's right. 100%.
Even work with NSYNC, huh?
I did. I did a song. Well, I started working with the guys. It was on a tour. And I did a song with the gentleman I was telling you, Jamal. We worked with them, No Strings Attached. And we did
sure.
Yeah, we did a song called It Makes Me Ill.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of my favorite numbers in their show. And then I continued to work with JC Chazé, who's
on the left for everybody watching.
And he was incredible, dude. That dude, you talk about an incredible performer on stage. Yeah. He sold out shows, and he had a show. He had a hit song right after NSYNC called "Blowing Me Up" that Dallas Austin created, and it was such a great video and a great song. And working with JC was everything. And we stay connected to this day, you know, he and I. And, you know, and then, of course, you know, the group itself working with NSYNC was amazing time. They were great.
It had to be. You know, you've worked on, if you look at the IMDb, folks, there's all these shows and specials and film work and television shows galore, and even recent things, too, like Call Me Kat, right?
Yeah. Maya. You know, it's so crazy. It was working on Call Me Kat. I worked on that show. I think they did 3 seasons of that show, and I started in season 2. And it was such a great experience. You know, Kelly Lee's the producer over there. She brought me onto that, and it was great. And the dance numbers, and Mayim was amazing. She would come in and give her heart and soul to that show. And Kyla Pratt. And then once that show ended, Kelly brought me over to another show on Netflix that was called That 90s Show, which is coming out June. I don't know if the date gets me, but the first binge watch of it on Netflix, I think hits like June 27th or something like that.
Oh, cool. Look for that, folks.
Yeah. It's called That 90s Show. And it's such a great cast. And Kelly Lee brought me onto that, and it's the executive producer over there, and it's such a good show. So again, relationships that you build.
That's what it is.
You know, she was on Call Me Kat. She brought me over, you know, to That 90s Show, and hopefully, fingers crossed we get another season because the show is really good. The kids on there are great to work
Do you
with.
like working on episodic series like that have some longevity to them, or do you prefer different? You get in and it's a one week thing and you're out and then you're on to something completely different. Or do you like the semi-stability of episodic work?
Well, I mean, the episodic work, the stability of it is great, hands down. I still need to be able to do it all. I still need to be able, because then my creativity also comes from the other stuff that I do, whether it's with musical artists or actors. So both of it is very important to me. I really do like the stability of episodic work, but I also love the creativity that I can do with putting a whole tour together, like for KeKe, or like, when I did the American Music Awards with Tony Braxton, or in 2000 and I think that was 19, right before the pandemic.
With Tony Braxton, yeah.
She did Unbreak My Heart on the American Music Awards.
Mm-hmm.
And it was such a great moment for me because it was the one time where she allowed me and her team to really create the visuals behind her, and the way the set looked, to the violin players, to Unbreak My Heart, to the way they moved. I wanted an ice fantasy land, and I thought.
So you're in on all of that part of it too?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's good. Do you like working on the big production music award shows and all the large productions too?
I love it because I feel like creatively, when you can really creative direct a piece of work like that, you really get to see your vision come together, not just in the steps aspect of it. You have everything to do with the visuals, the way it plays out and how it works so harmoniously with the steps, and how it tells the story. And then and it all starts with the words of the song and how it presents itself. Like I love all of that, to the look of how she looked, or how the dancers look, or how the stage looks. Like all that creativity is everything. It's a lot. It is definitely a lot. But I enjoy it. And I have great assistants. Michelle Soulchild is her Instagram. She's amazing, and it's already written, is his Instagram. Those are my two assistants, and I don't move without them. They're youthful and young, and they'll tell me if something doesn't look right. They'll give me their honest opinions. It's really, really good working with them. You are just finding pictures that I haven't seen in years.
We are really good. I tell you, I do it all. I host it, I produce it, I do that whole thing.
It's a
cool shot, right?
Yeah, I remember taking that shot too. I said, I want to take the jacket off and spin. You just got to catch it when I turn. And the guy
was there a fan or no?
No,
it was you spinning.
I turned, and then I popped my knee, and the jacket was in the air in the back, as you can see.
And then they snapped right away.
He snapped right away, and I really liked that outfit. That was the same day that I said I ate too much, but in that stomach, it was flat as an iron board. We
actually have here. For viewers, and I want to welcome everybody. Jim Masters here, Rosero McCoy, acclaimed, beloved, award-winning choreographer extraordinaire, choreographer to the stars, as well as a phenomenal actor, artistic director, teacher, educator, creator. We have a little video here that just shows some quick samples of some of the things that he's done, some of the projects that he's worked on, that we want to show you. And again, Jim Masters here in the New York area, and our friend Rosero is there in Simi Valley, around the LA area. Take a look at this, folks. You're going to really enjoy this. And then we'll be back with Rosero in just a moment. Here we go.
To be a legend, you have to beat a legend. Witnessing the making of a legend.
Come on, girls.
Rosero brings a very real edge to it. You know, he goes out to these clubs to make sure that he keeps himself current. And so that's one of the reasons that I love, you know, working with him. And I knew that he was perfect for this film.
He's always going to be my teacher. When he talks, I shut up.
From the top.
Wow. And that's just the short list, folks. That's just the short list. I asked this of, I'm a writer too, and writers sometimes have writer's block. They just can't think of anything. So they pause, put it away, then they come back and they, you know, reapproach it. With all of that, how do you not ever run out of ideas with the myriad of amount of incredible moves and the artistry and everything that you've done as a choreographer? How do you ever not run out of ideas?
Well, I think for me, I have to take a break from it, right? Like I have to, you know, if it's not coming to me, or, you know, I think the biggest thing is for me is because I've been doing this so long, my body's used to certain types of movement. So my vocabulary will go to something. I'll be like, no, I don't want to do that. I need to challenge myself. So sometimes I have to really step away, go to sleep. I don't work until I'm ready to work, right? Like I'll get a piece and I know I have time to do it. And once I'm really, you know, it's like, once I'm ready to step into that fantasy and be in that element, then I'm ready to be there. And however long it takes me to be there, I'll do it, right? Like I gotta put this piece together, but right now it's not coming together right. Close up shop, I'm going to bed, I'm gonna go to sleep. Today is not the day. but then I let my brain work, relax, and I'm like, boom, I can wake up in the middle of the night. I got it. Let me start writing it down. Let me go for it, right? Let me make it happen. So, you know, for me, the creativity is definitely in that moment. And a lot of times, the biggest challenge for me is not to do something I've done, not to get pigeonholed in a certain type of movement. You know, we all have our certain style of doing things. I mean, look, Fosse was amazing for what he did. You know, his intricate moves, his hands, his fingers, his little moments, right? So whatever that is for me, whatever my Fosse is for me, I have that, but I also try to embellish that. I always try to come up with something new on top of that. I still have my base that I know I can do, you know, but it's sometimes if the creativity is not, hey, 100% there, I'll shut it down. I got to come back to it because I don't like what I'm doing. Or I'll make up something and come back to it and refine it. I always do that. You know, you look at it with a different eye because sometimes you're too close to things, right? And you have to step back. And then, like I said, I have really good assistants. They'll look at it and be like, you know, my son is my assistant. He'll be like, Dad, no, that's not, no.
And is he into it? Is he a good dancer?
Oh,
Is he
amazing?
Yeah.
He's amazing.
How old is he?
My youngest son is 34, and he choreographs.
Now everybody's saying that's very hard to believe because you feel Rosero is 34.
Thank you very much.
They're like, no way. Did you adopt him at 34? That's what they're saying.
He's definitely, and now the gardeners are coming.
The gardeners.
Yeah, now here they are with the noise.
See.
He's definitely
There's his chair, the celebrity chair.
He's definitely my inspiration. He keeps me there. He keeps me on it, you know, and yeah, so yeah.
And you do have to work very, very, very hard, folks. And he's telling you that, you know, if you're thinking about going into these industries, if you want to go from seat 33D to having gardeners, you got to work your tail off.
And then you're still in 33D, but it's okay. You have a gardener.
Right.
That's funny. That's funny, Jim. That was good.
You, I want to make mention too, of course, you're known for your versatility in all styles of dance, including we showed a few of them, but commercials for Shoe Dazzle, Shoe Carnival, Volkswagen, Target, the department stores, Sprint, Playtex, and lots of different music videos as well. Do you like working on the commercials?
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. You know, anything where people get me creatively and want me, I love it. It's what I love to do, right? So, yes, do I like it? I love it. You know, it's in the moment. Yeah, people always say, "What was your favorite job?" The one I'm on right now. That's my favorite job. What's my favorite? Even when I go teach classes, you know, the kids would be like, "Well, what was the favorite thing? What's your favorite moment?" Being here with you right now, these questions, we're having a real moment. You know what I mean? These steps that I get to see come to life on you guys, you know, because they don't even know, but I'm networking. I'm not networking. What's the word? I'm putting these steps on you so I can see how they look, because these are the class steps that I'm going to really use when it's time to do television. That I have to have an arsenal of stuff in my brain ready to go. So, you know, I will do these things in these classes to be able to work it out on the kids and say, oh, that looks good on them. So now when I go to do it here, I know it's going to work. I've seen it in the class. You know, that's a part of how I operate. So
why do you love doing this so much? You've done it a long time and you're still, you know, you still have a thirst and a hunger for it. You're still curious, you're still creating, working with so many incredible people, all different backgrounds, ages, all different, not just celebrities, all different celebrity levels, non-celebrities. What is it when you wake up in the day that, well, the family, the love of family, of course, but that fills your cup to want to go out there and make this continued magic, Rosero?
It's my purpose, man. You know, I've always known this is my truth and my purpose. And when you live in that, there's nothing better. There's absolutely nothing better than living in your truth and your purpose and knowing it, right? knowing it. There's nothing else I want to do. That's it.
That's the bottom line. You're in your sweet spot. You know your purpose, and you're sharing it with the world, which I think is a fantastic thing. How did you meet Jasper? How did you our mutual friend Jasper Cole, who's either probably watching now live or he'll watch this in the archives. He was excited you were coming on. And Jasper, for those watching, has been a guest a couple of times now on the Jim Masters show.
I absolutely love Jasper Cole, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because Jasper believes in me, right? I met Jasper because I saw him working on something, and I saw that he managed actors. And at the time, I mean, my choreography and my creative is doing what it does, but I still wasn't being fulfilled with my acting. And I love acting. And I did what I did with my music when I first started. You know, I remember reaching out to Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis because I knew that they did Janet Jackson, and they hit me back with a letter and told me where to go. And I was like, ah, they hit me back, you know? And so the same thing happened with Jasper. I hit him up and he hit me back. And that's the accomplishment. It's in the doing, right? It's in that, and
believing in yourself and taking a chance
to do that and not be annoying, but just hitting someone up and saying, hey, this is what I do. Here's my work. And you pray they look at it. And he looked at it and he was like, hey, I like what you do. You know, yeah, let's talk. And I remember him saying to me, I think it was something along the lines of, well, I might be not a bit much for what you are, but this is what I really do. And is it what you do? And I said, of course. And I sent him over, you know, some television stuff I did. You know, I pieced it together because it had been a minute. And he was like, okay, let's try this. Let's do it. You know, because I wanted a manager. I wanted someone, you know, at this point that would push me.
Right.
Put me out there. And, you know, as long as I can hear about it and as long as you can put me out there, I'll go and give it. I'll do what I have to do, you know. But if it's what I needed to know is out there. You know, and Jasper's been very good about putting me out there and understanding what my work schedule is, but still letting me be the one to go out there and do it. I remember there was one thing he sent me up for, and it was a job, and I booked it, you know, and they were playing around. You know, I remember when I booked something, especially on these self-tapes and things, I remember that moment of how it was for me. And I remember I was rushing to get to it. I couldn't get my Zoom working. I'm not the best at this technology stuff. And I got in there and I was full of energy. I went, hi, how are you? Nice to meet you. And they said, you have your lines? I said, yes, let me just get them right over here. And I just put it and it went out on the table. And I was very in tune with me and the actress, and it was really good. And they were laughing. And I was like, I got these people, you know, we were doing it. And we got off of it, and Jasper asked me how it went. I said, it went great, you know, and I always leave it there. I never take it with me, so I don't have these expectations. But I thought I did pretty good, right? It was one of those ones. And I remember I had to leave town, and I hadn't heard anything. And I was like, okay, I know I did good, but don't think about it. We got to go. And I flew out, and Jasper hit me, and he said, where are you? Now, I'd already just jumped off my plane in the city to go work. And he said, they went with, it was out of you and another guy, because he had told me that. And they went with the other guy, but they didn't want him. They want to know if you can get here today by 3:00. I just landed in Colorado. And I was like, how can I get back? Oh my God. You know, I was ready to cancel my stuff. And he was like, look, man, they made a mistake. This just shows me your hunger. I'm so happy, and let me handle this for you. You know, they made the mistake. They went with the wrong person. And I just will always remember him having me in that moment. And so how do I feel about him? He's a lifesaver for me at this point, you know, and I am going to show this man, you know, we need I'm waiting for the next opportunity, but I want him to know that, like, Jasper Cole has taken me in at a point in my life where he still sees this hunger and thirst that I have for this acting career, you know, and you know, I even did a thing with him when I was on Family Reunion, and you know, the role that I played on there, I turned that over to him, you know, because I want these people to look at me not as the choreographer, because they kept trying to go through my choreography people. And I was like, no, this is my theatrical manager, and let him handle it, you know? And so that's keeping it separate, but still understanding, you know, I need you to talk to him, not to my choreography person, right? And I love it. I absolutely love it. I love having him as my manager, him as a person. You know, we did this really over the pandemic, so we never got to really meet. And then when we did meet in person, it was amazing. You know, him and Ralph, they were funny, and it was like we were friends from way back.
They're both very talented guys, aren't they?
Yeah, you know, understand that the longevity in this business, hey, look, we're not all going to be on this type of level of doing this thing, right? But you can still have longevity as an actor in this business, as a, you know, a commentator, as a talk host or whatever in this business. Yeah, we're not this person or that person, but that's their journey. My journey is here. So I love it. And when I do my self tapes, I look great and I know I did a good job. And I have my manager that says, okay, this looks great. Let's send it through. Now,
you know, what you said is very important, because a lot of people get hung up on what everybody else is doing, even if it's in the same career path that they want. They're looking at that person and that person and that person, and maybe they're at different levels of success and celebrity and money and whatever else. But they're trying to copy that person and be that person, when that person has their own DNA, their own personality, their own life story, their own ups and downs. You really got to. There may be certain elements of style or a little bit of the presentation that you admire, respect, and enjoy, that maybe you can weave in a little bit. But bottom line, it's really got to come from here.
Yeah, and you got to take what you need from that situation. The rest, you leave it alone. You know, the series I did on Key TV Network is called Cousin M, and she is right there in the green jacket. And, you know, that comes from my Waylon and the Madam days, my Alf days, where I loved how puppets get away with stuff that humans can't. And, you know, even putting that together and getting.
You worked with Alf?
Huh?
You worked with Alf?
I didn't work with him, but that's my inspiration.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And the Madam, those are the inspirations.
My mother has the Alf doll. She used to love that show. She sent away for it, and she got the Alf doll.
Really? Right. So this Cousin M is a puppet idea that I've had for years. And it's KeKe Palmer got on board with me, and we put it out on her network, and it's a 6-series episode. And, you know, if just to make you laugh and have a good time, that's another aspect of me. You know, my son loves to write, so he wrote the series. I love to create, so I created her, and put it out. And
you probably really respect people like Jim Henson with the Muppets. And
you know what's crazy about what you just said about that is, like, that's my day off today. I'm watching Jim Henson, and I didn't want to watch it out on the road, and I didn't want to watch it when I didn't have time. But on my day off today,
I'm very intuitive.
Again, I'm going to watch his whole story, because I know he was a master at how he worked and how he wanted to do it on television, and how he was constantly thinking. He had a purpose, right, to be here. So that's what keeps us all fueled, right? Jim is our purpose. You know, I could go on and on. You'll have
me. You sure you're not from the East Coast? That is funny.
My demeanor might be, yeah, but
so you have lots of cool projects, things you're working on. You're excited about, huh?
Oh yeah, man. I'm very excited. I'm excited about Cousin M. You know, I've had her for a minute. Like I said, the 6-series episode is now out on, you know, YouTube channel, Key TV Network, and we're doing some more stuff with her coming up. Excited about that project. Excited about the next phase with KeKe, you know, and she has a bunch of stuff coming up. She just it just came out right now, a project she's on called Diva Girl, and it's really cool. We just started doing that, you know. So down the line, a bunch of other choreographed things that are coming up creatively, as well as my projects are my own for sure.
You never consult with or advise the Dodgers, do you? With key moves. Here, slide this way.
Not really, Nick. It's been a pleasure talking to you, Jim. I didn't know there was going to be this.
I'm glad. That's why I say we make it.
You took me
not
down
into
memory lane.
We make it a conversation versus. So it's a little like Dick Cavett or Johnny Carson or Regis or Merv or some of the legends where it's conversation, where free flowing. You and I are at equal footing. I'm not the host and you're the guest. We're equal. The viewers are watching. They've been commenting and celebrating throughout. And I do it conversational way. A lot of people say we're bringing back the lost art of conversation as a kind of like a TV show style. And it was really a pleasure having you. And thanks for being so open and real and authentic and honest and fun and spread the word about our series. We've had so many extraordinary people on our show. The Pointer Sisters have been here. Melissa Manchester's been here. Lucy Arnaz, Frida Payne. I mean, you name it, they've all come through. And Jasper, of course. And now you're part of the Lovity family, as we call it. And
part of the Lovity family.
The Lovity family. And we're going to keep that porch light on for you. And of course, you're on the social media as well. And people can follow all of your antics and creativity and artistry there. And very, very cool to have you here on the show. And I hope you enjoyed the time with me as much as I have with you, Rosero.
Oh, man, I've totally enjoyed it. And thank you so much. You brought me to a place that I had stored in the back and haven't visited in a minute. So I appreciate you. And I appreciate this platform that you've given me today. Thank you so much.
The pleasure is all mine, new friend.
Yes.
And we will definitely stay together. A couple of different Lovities here. These are real fans, super supporters of our show. Maureen's in Arizona. This has been a great time. Thanks so much for being here, Rosero. I just know there is so much more out there for you. So keep on keeping on. You are amazing.
Thank you,
Kathleen in New York City, here on the East Coast. Thanks for being here, Rosero. It has been a great conversation. Wishing you continued success. Jane watching in Sweden. Thank you, Rosero, for being here tonight. And thanks, Jim, and everybody else that's commenting. We thank you for your love and support as well. Yeah, spread the word about our show. Other folks you think you'd like to pop on. That's like Jasper did. It's how it is. It takes a village, right?
Right.
It
Thank
takes
you again, man.
Pleasure is mine. Come see us again, and congratulations on everything. Amazingly talented lad you are, and we expect to have you back, and we'll have some more fun again soon, my friend. Okay?
For sure. Thanks, man.
All right. You be well. Thanks, Rosero.
Okie doke. Bye-bye.
Cheers. All right. Very cool. He got a little thumbs up on his screen that came through too, right? I love that. Was that not a great conversation or what? We were so happy to have our very special guest who has worked, as you have seen. If you joined us late, watch this episode again. There's so many incredible nooks and crannies and paths that we took in this conversation. And he really shared so much of himself and all of these amazing people for several decades he's worked with as the choreographer to the stars, as well as phenomenal actor as well. In addition, he is a fantastic actor. You've seen him on a lot of different shows and so much more, but he has worked with some of the greats, as we mentioned. Celine Dion he's worked with. He had a great story about working with her. And these are just some of the people. He's worked with so many. Tony Braxton, as we mentioned, and Jodie Watley. And he's choreographed for and worked with and still with KeKe Palmer. He's got that series that's coming out. And he's had that great story about working with Prince and Zendaya and NSYNC and Gloria Estefan and Usher. Lots of movies, TV shows, some of those awards shows that you see on television, and you see all the dancers. A good deal of that is the work of this gentleman that just stopped by our show, working on great series like Shake It Up, Alvin and the Chipmunks. I mean, even this one, we didn't talk about this one, but Mind of Mencia. Yeah. He also teaches. Yep, he teaches students. He's an educator, instructor as well. Look at that shot. There's another cool shot from the past, right? Just recently worked on Call Me Kate, the TV series. The movie Switch Up as well, another fantastic. That's this year, Switch Up. And this is just a short list, gang, of amazing, amazing things he's had an opportunity to work on. There he is with First Lady Michelle Obama, teaching her some moves for some Disney projects and lots more. And for her healthy living campaign. That was for her incredible healthy living campaign. And he's worked with her on several occasions. There they are together, Rosero with First Lady Michelle Obama. And again, he's had some wonderful experiences and has had an opportunity to, again, really shine and share it with everybody. We showed a really cool video earlier as well of him in action doing his thing. And he was very, very excited about coming on our show. We had been working for several weeks to put a date together where I was available because of my busy schedule on the air, in the studio and on location in TV and radio, and his incredibly busy schedule with everything he does out there in LA. He grew up in the San Francisco area, and he makes his home in the Valley in LA with the family. But really, really cool, right? And some amazing people he's had an opportunity to work with. And now he's a lovety here on the Jim Masters Show, and he really enjoyed that as well. Great show. Thank you very much for being here. You are absolutely amazing people, and we thank you so very much for being with us. Hey, gang, cool thing. We don't ask much. We appreciate your watching, but if you can, we would love it. It really, really helps our show. If you can give this episode a like, please give it a thumbs up like. There's a like icon on the YouTube channel and all the episodes. Give it a like. Leave a comment for us in the comment section. Share this episode on your social media. The YouTube link, share it on your social media. Let other folks know that the show is here. And don't forget to subscribe to the very channel you're watching. The channel is Jim Masters TV on YouTube. And the show is The Jim Masters Show, Entertainment Lifestyle Celebrity Talk Show Series. For all who have been subscribing, liking, sharing, and commenting, we say a very hearty thank you so much. And for everybody joining us for the first time, we welcome you to the Lovity family and welcome to the Jim Masters Show. A great place to come and get away from it all, have good times with us, and meet some of your favorite celebrity friends and guests and everyday people who want to stop on, pop on, and have a good time with me and all of you. Good time today on this episode. And we again thank our friend Rosero for joining us here on the show. Acclaimed choreographer, actor, artistic director, creative director, and so much more. Hey, you can follow us as well. He's on social media, and you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and X, formerly known as Twitter, all at Jim Masters TV. Come see us there. And we love having you here. Great shows, great episodes, so many guests coming up. And don't forget, you can binge watch any of the past episodes that you may have missed, gang. If you missed anything and you want to see it again, or you want to see this episode again, because maybe you joined us late, all you need to do is just scroll back in the archive, JMS Archive, and you can see all these episodes again. It's dinner time here. It's around almost 7 p.m. We did the show a little bit earlier, an afternoon show, because of my schedule and Rosero's. So we blended it in here. So we know a lot of people are going to watch this episode later. Thanks to everybody who joined us live and all this great interaction. And thanks to those of you who are watching this in the archives later. Come see us again. We'll keep the porch light on for you here at the Jim Masters Show. We love you all. Don't forget to take care of one another, love one another, and don't forget to take care of yourself and love yourself. We'll be right here waiting for you at Lovity Hall and the Jim Masters Show. Thanks for all these great comments, everybody. We love you all. Spread the word about our show. Come see us again. We promise to continue entertaining, inspiring, having a good time with all of you right here at JMS. See you on the next one. Cheers.